Welcome back. I'm Pastor Dirk Wilner, and we're having a look at the life of Jesus. We're doing chapter 4, and chapter 4 is about the teachings of Jesus. Have a look at that, open it up, and right at the beginning you can see this is the story about Jesus meeting this woman at the well. He says something very interesting to her. Everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again. He's talking to this woman who has just been getting some water out. But those who drink of the water that I will give them will never be thirsty again. What's he talking about? Very important thing about water is that it quenches our thirst when you're thirsty. And as you can see around me in the background, water is the stuff of life. Without it, nature itself goes all dead and dusty, and there's nothing left of it. So we need water to sustain life, our life, nature all around us. Did you know that even everything that is birthed in life is connected with water? Water is something very important. Here Jesus is making the connection between water that's physical. Remember, we were talking about baptism last time. There's a connection to water. And here he's taking it even further and saying, but the water that I will give them, so there's something else here that's talking about. The water that I will give, you won't be thirsty again. This is talking about wisdom. So everything around us needs to be sustained. We have to get water out of the well or out of the tap to wash the car, to wash the dishes, to wash ourselves. And we have that as a regular daily thing. But wisdom, it's an interesting thing. When you have wisdom, it stays with you forever. The stuff that we learn is the stuff that changes us. Jesus was teaching here this woman and saying, if the stuff that I'm going to share with you is going to change your life. And we know that this woman was one of the first evangelists, actually. She went back to her hometown, said, I found the Messiah, come and meet him. And through that, the whole town apparently was at least changed in one way or another because of this woman who connected people with Christ. Her faith was something that meant something to her, and she shared it with others because she met Jesus. What about your faith? Does it change you? Is it something about you that changes? Is it like this thirst that we have? Because for her, it was about finding this connection with God that was really at the heart of what she was longing for. And she wanted to find it in all sorts of things in everyday life, but Jesus knew deep down it was her connection with God that mattered most. Have a read of this page. Discuss it, and have a look at all of these things on the other side of the page as well. When you come to role plays, are you enjoying these role plays with mum and dad, just to have different scenarios? Or what about the questions? I like these questions. This one has, who is the best teacher that you've ever had? When you think about that question, I would like to invite you to think about the people who've made a difference in your life. Write them a little note, something like a little letter about how important that was for you. Send it off to them and share the fact that this mattered to me, that you had an influence in my life. Very much like this woman at the well and Jesus meeting her. What about the second question here? List 3 people who know you really well. How did they get to know you? Isn't it interesting that when we think about our relationships, it's family that knows us really well. They know our good side, our bad side. They know what buttons to push. They know what makes us tick. All of the things that you only really get to know if you spend time with each other. Jesus is saying, if you spend time with me, you'll never thirsty again, because that connection is going to be there forever and ever. So we have this idea about, is God out there somewhere? And with this, God is saying, if you connect with me, I'm going to be with you forever. So this important thing about family, isn't it interesting that Jesus invited us to pray to our Heavenly Father? Isn't it interesting that that's a family term? Or about our brothers and sisters in the faith, again, a family term. So we're talking about Jesus inviting us to be part of his family. And baptism, which we talked about last time, is an adoption into God's family. And so we do life together. We get to know each other. We know God, we get to know each other, and we get to know ourselves. Just as Jesus taught us, love God, love your neighbor, and love yourself. Over on the page, have a look at the Faith 5, your highs and your lows. the things that matter in your day today, about what that affect you. In terms of good things, bad things, pray about it, talk about it, and share with one another. Bless each other. Remember, during the week, just to have a look at the different verses of the Bible, share your little prayer with one another if you want to. Otherwise, that can be your personal, private time. At the end of the week, our quiz. Get mum and dad to sit down and quiz you on some of the things that you've learned. And here are the quiz questions. Become the quiz master. You can see the cartoons over here in regards to the woman at the well and her reputation. It's an interesting thing about reputations here. It's kind of like in all these cartoons about, oh, this is a bad person. Well, you know, the funny thing is about how often we can throw mud at people and it sticks, or how we can, you know, say that's a bad person because of this, that, or the other. Oh, it's amazing how quickly we can point the finger. It's an interesting thing about pointing the fingers. You know, if you point the finger, there are three that point back to you. And the other one is that you're blaming God as well. So there's one up there, one against them. But check out the ones that we try to hide. It's the ones that are actually pointing at ourselves. So Jesus is looking at what's happening in real life. And isn't it interesting that faith is always meant to actually have a meaning in real life? So explore those questions about real life.